Good morning, everybody. I was sitting here thinking, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Apparently, my Monday was really stinking long. Trinity here from Esoteria. We're going to go ahead and this morning I want to, since it's the astrological Beltane. It's Beltane is very very similar to Halloween. Okay. So, like, everybody thinks that Samhain is on Halloween, and it is not. Just like everybody thinks that Beltane is on May Day. And in my opinion, hey, both Samhain and Beltane last from, for Samhain, it lasts from Halloween to the astrological date, which is typically November 7th. And then Beltane this year is on. All right, well, we have Hour of Power in my spiritual path cards. Beltane is from May Day, which is May 1st, until obviously today, which is the 5th of May. But again, I am all kinds of weirded out by the fact that I woke up fully convinced it was Wednesday, walking around like that. But if you have not yet, and it is early enough for you, like if you're in California and the sun is just about to rise, it might be a good time to go outside and walk with your bare feet in the grass and get some morning dew on it. I know I did, and I feel invigorated and ready to take on the world, which is very appropriate with the Hour of Power. So the bottom of the card, I've got my tea leaves out. Yo, look at how many cards are in this deck. 250. So we're going to be pulling a couple of cards from the tea leaves, but it says Ritual of Joy at the bottom. And if you are feeling like me, you're feeling a little scattered today, don't worry, that is actually going to calm down as your day goes on. Just try to move about your day without any expectations, and you'll find yourself to be more productive throughout your day, okay? All right. So that's card number 42, obviously. And I'm being told that we have one more card out of this deck. This is my Sacred Path cards, okay? So you may want to I've got a couple cards here. 3 more. All right. You may want to do a ritual of joy for yourself. Do something like painting or something to really celebrate the fact that this is, you know, spring is wrapping up. It's about halfway over. We have, if you know anything about the wheels of the year, there are stationary ones where it's the equinoxes and the solstices, and then there are 4 more that are in the midpoint. So like midsummer, the word midsummer comes from that. So Litha would be the beginning of summer, which is on the summer solstice, and then Lunasa, which is in the beginning of August, is midsummer. So I am going to be hosting a self-commitment ceremony for a couple of friends because I figured this year of the fire horses, when we, excuse me, when we let go of our past and we really hunker down and commit to ourselves, our path, and to the divine, coming into union with the self and with the divine. Okay. So that's where I'm going with my midsummer plans. And that's on top of the retreat I'm hosting. Again, we have one more bed. And that's it. So if you want to join us, I'll link the information and the ability to book in the comments. It is going to be a really fun time. So what are we doing? We are going to be looking at getting guidance on where your spiritual sacred path is going. We are going to be doing a soul retrieval at the end of Saturday. And we are going to be shedding off those things that have been blocking us from accessing that path. Ultimately, when we do this, we actually get onto our happiest timeline, not the most wealthy. And here's the thing, a lot of people focus on love or money, but neither one of those will put you on your happiest timeline. And yet, if you get onto your happiest timeline, you will feel so abundant and you'll have plenty of money and plenty of love. So it's not, you want to be on your happiest timeline, not on your wealthiest or most loved. Okay. Anyway, with that, let's go ahead. We've got medicine bundle, allies, support. Okay, so you are going to be having some people come in, some soul tribe, and that's something that's been coming through on a couple of readings here, where we've got our soul tribe coming in. If you don't have one already, it's coming. It's coming. Hold faith. Stay true to yourself. Be authentic. Speak your truth. Toss imposter syndrome out the window, and you're going to be calling in people who resonate with you, where you can actually have symbiotic relationships, is what I'm hearing. It's a very simpatico sort of feeling that I'm getting from those relationships. They could be platonic, they could be work, they could be romantic even. So these people are coming in. Okay, so if you're feeling alone, if you're feeling isolated, first and foremost, if you're in recovery and you're feeling that way, get thee to a meeting and call your sponsor. Remember, I am not a substitute for your sponsor. Okay. All right. Rites of passage. So we've got a lot of change coming in. There is going to be some truths being told and revealed. And remember, when you hear a truth from someone, read between the lines. But if you're getting a download from spirit about truth, that can be open to interpretation. I can't tell you how many times I have gotten signs and misinterpreted them. Okay, that is something that happens to literally everyone. And when I was in early recovery, I kept getting like signs and symbology of a nuclear bomb. And so I'm catastrophizing it, thinking, oh my God, there's going to be a bomb. Oh my God, and I was just shaking in my boots. I didn't tell many people just because I didn't want to give false information, because I wasn't quite sure what it meant. But in actuality, as I navigated through, did the next right thing, and was able to interpret the signs a little more clearly, what spirit was trying to tell me was there was something in my nuclear family that needed to be addressed. So 9 times out of 10, if spirit is sending you a message, it's best not to catastrophize it, is the lesson in that. Okay. And I was a newbie at all of this. Like, I had been born psychic, but I lost the ability to interpret when I was in an abusive relationship. And that's when they say, if you get involved with someone who is narcissistic or avoidant, and they just take and take and take, they will take everything from you, both physically, financially, and spiritually. So your energy is sacred. Make sure you keep it for yourself, okay? And if somebody is not in a reciprocal relationship, that is not to be confused with transactional. If it's not a reciprocal relationship, if it leaves you confused or anxious all the time, if it makes you wonder what you're doing wrong all the time, you're probably being gaslit, and it's probably not a healthy relationship to be in. That does not mean that they are a bad person per se. Maybe they are, I don't know. But for you and yourself, if it robs you of your peace, take a step back, get grounded, look at committing to yourself first and foremost. We talk about selfishness and self-centeredness, but being focused on bettering yourself is always for the benefit of the greater good. So that is not selfish. That is not self-centered. Okay, taking care of yourself, being fully supporting through your own contributions is not selfish. Self-love is not selfish. Where we get into selfishness and self-centeredness is when we are manipulating others in order to achieve what we want, because we are being controlling of not only our situation within ourselves, but also everyone around us. Okay, so please make sure that you are understanding that dynamic a little bit better, because I'm hearing that there is someone who is um, going to meetings and hearing, it's selfishness and self-centeredness, and they're very confused about that. And it may look like recovery may look selfish to other people, but when we get into early recovery, we really have to stop and we have to focus on getting ourselves stabilized first. And the people who have been benefiting off of your instability are going to tell you that's extremely selfish and self-centered, and they will use whatever is in the book against you. Okay? Let them do them. You do you. That is not a selfish, self-centered thing to do. Okay? All right. The next one, medicine wheel. We are about to end a cycle. This is cycles and movement. So, that goes right along with the fact that, we're changing up our community. We are celebrating because this cycle is over. We really, if you may have just gotten out of a 7-year cycle, because I've got the number 7 here. You may have gotten out of a 14 or 15-year cycle. There are a lot of cycles that are ending right now for good reason. This is actually, this was kind of prophesized by a lot of psychics in the 80s and 90s. Even earlier than that, Dolores Cannon was one of them, where she said there will come a time where people will have to decide. Even ancient Hopi Indians said that the earth will be covered in a web, and they will have to decide whether they take the upper path or the lower path. And that's, a lot of people are saying there's a new earth. The earth is splitting into 2 different timelines. That is what's happening right now. And so we have to decide which timeline do we want to go on. And my recommendation is to say, you know what? The upper path may have some struggles because change is hard, but it's necessary right now. And it's going to demand a lot from us, but it's, like I said, it's worth it. Very few things that are worth attaining are easily gotten, is the other message that I'm hearing. So are you going to sit there and worry all the time? Are you going to stay stuck in those old patterns that have been holding you back for forever? Are you going to be moving forward, letting crap go from your past that is really not serving you anymore? That's the choice that we have to make right now individually, and then collectively we're going to start seeing that reverberate. Right now in the United States, we're going into the midterms. How do we want this earth to look? And that's where our voice gets heard, is at the voting box. So vote is my recommendation, because that is the collective consciousness of humanity or a country. So yeah, we're going to see a lot of things going through. Now, I'm hearing someone go, well, what about the Iran war? What about that is, really a good thing? Well, if you think about it, like the goddess Kali, a lot of people fear her. They think that she's evil. She's not. She's actually very benevolent. And what she does, it's kind of like the Tower card in tarot. It's never comfortable, unless she's coming in the form that protects you. But when she comes to make changes, she sweeps and wipes everything off the board, so that you start with a clean slate. And that is sometimes one of the most benevolent things that divinity can do for us. And so do I personally like what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in this country? No, absolutely not. But sometimes those things have to happen in order to shake things up. So we see truths that need to be taken into consideration before we make a decision when we go into the ballot box. So that's my recommendation for you. I am not saying that this is the start of anything other than beneficial changes. Okay? I have to believe that because that's what the cards have told me. This is something that needs to happen, and my heart breaks for the people who are caught in the crossfire of this. And it's easy for me to try and look at that higher perspective from the vantage point that I have. I'm very well aware of that. So hopefully the comments, if you have any comments about this, please try and keep them kind and constructive. We don't need slinging mud on my channel. If you do, I'm gonna delete your comment. I'm not putting up with shit right now. Haha. All right. So I'm being told that I'm going to shuffle these in 3 piles and pick 1 card from each pile. These are the tea leaves. And right now we're talking about, like these cards say, how to get on our spiritual path. So right now we're going to be saging and celebrating because we are ending a cycle. We are going to welcome the change, because if you don't welcome the change, it's like you have a choice. We're going. So are you going to get in the back seat and buckle up, or are you going to be drugged behind the truck? It's your choice. That is your choice, but the movement is happening. Okay. So sage and celebrate, embrace the changes that are coming. And we will eventually get to the point where we are moving forward. And change is always uncomfortable, but we get used to it, and then that becomes our new comfort zone. Okay, so do have faith that that will eventually happen. All right. Oh, we got 1. Oh, we've got 2. Oh, elephant. Okay. I was watching a movie yesterday, and an elephant popped up in that movie, and I was like, what does that mean? All right. A long journey, either physical or mental, will have you wiser at the end. And that's what I've been saying. This is something that if we're in it for the long haul with this. We don't want such radical fast change that it can't take root, or it's built on a faulty foundation. Okay. We need to be taking it 1 step at a time to ensure that that change is locked in. Okay. Now, I'm not talking collective anymore. I'm talking one-on-one with you as an individual. If you are just entering recovery, that's exactly what I'm talking about. These changes, you're not going to wake up overnight and be like, "Ooh, I'm a completely changed person." And it takes time to develop within recovery. And even though each milestone in the beginning is very important, because it's really hard to make those first couple of milestones. That's why when we go to 12-step meetings, we have, the white chip, and then we have the 30-day chip, and then the 60-day, the 90-day, then it graduates to 6 months, and then 9 months, and then a year, and then you don't usually pick up more. Some groups have 18 months, some groups have 2 years, and then multiple years after that. And then some groups like CMA, which is Crystal Meth Anonymous. If you haven't heard about that group, it's a really great group for people who struggle with that. They have chips that are closer together. And that in the industry is called a token economy. But basically it's to celebrate those moments because we know how hard it is. But at the end of the day, getting those chips is one thing, but making lasting change actually takes working a program, and it has nothing to do with about plastic circles of many colors. Okay. And eagle. Triumph over trouble and obstacles. Okay, so you're on the right path right now. You are really doing a wonderful job, and as I keep talking, it would appear that I'm really targeting someone who is in early recovery and not as seasoned. So, getting into meetings is vital, especially in early recovery. I am a firm believer in 90 and 90. And like when I have a major life change, like I just moved, I made it a point for the first month to be hitting as many meetings as I could in the new community that I'm in. It gets your face known. It makes new friends in the community. And you know what? The people there are awesome. Just saying. There are some puke faces, most definitely. Don't get me wrong. If you have not found someone in AA or a 12-step program that you do not like, you have not been going to meetings long enough. I'm sure there are plenty of people who do not like me. All right. And then the first one is 4-leaf clover. Great good fortune. Okay. So, because you are putting forth the effort, hopefully you're going to meetings, hopefully you're working with your sponsor, hopefully you're getting that phone list, which is vital. I cannot tell you how vital it is to get that phone list. And also keep in contact with them. Don't just wait until you're struggling to reach out, because people will care more when you are struggling if they've already developed a relationship and rapport with you. Okay? Make new friends. Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other gold. Wow. Okay, so returning to innocence. You may find yourself being attracted to hobbies that you used to do when you were a child, that you haven't picked up in a long time. And you're like, wow, I really enjoyed this. Why did I ever let it go? Well, I'll tell you what, life happened. But right now, even though life is happening, you're encouraged to go back to those. So if you used to take crayons and a coloring book and color, go do that if it brings joy to you. If you enjoy cross stitching, all of those crafty things, anything like that is really going to be great if you're a guy or a girl. I mean, I know a lot of guys who crochet, and they make beautiful blankets, by the way. And they're not, it says nothing about whether they're heterosexual or not. That's what they do to put themselves in a meditative state, and they enjoy it. But there are some other activities that are not crafty, like going fishing with other fellows, going to retreats. Yes, you yourself in early recovery are invited to these retreats. They are absolutely fabulous to go to, and I highly encourage you to get on there. A lot of them have scholarships. If you can't afford to go, find a fellow who can take you, so you don't have to pay for gas, because gas is expensive right now. Or kick them a few bucks for the gas, split the bill. But yeah, get yourself to recovery retreats if you can. Watching movies. I'm seeing someone watching a movie and eating popcorn. I'm hearing like just going for a long drive can be therapeutic, particularly if you bring someone else who you want to get to know. Or you could be taking that long drive to go to a destination, but it doesn't really matter. But I am seeing someone that could just be confirmation for you as well. If you are, like I will listen to tarot sometimes when I'm on the road. I do not watch the video. I listen to the audio. So don't watch the video if you're driving, please. Safety first, kiddos. All right, so I am doing the Chubby Bunny tarot, and I'm going to ask what we can do just for today. And at the bottom of the deck, when I pull it out, it is Happy Squirrel, which is the World card. Okay. You are like the autumn leaves. You're leaving it behind. All right. So you're really doing good. You should be celebrating. If you're in like that first week, you probably physically don't feel the best. But if you can hang in there and go through that detox period and then start to look to the things that you enjoy doing, using your voice. I'm coughing, so that means that somebody's having an issue using your voice. That's, you're going to start feeling good, because your brain's like, oh, thank you. Thank you for not polluting me. What I will also say though, is that you, that's known as a pink cloud moment. So enjoy it while it lasts, but know that this too shall pass, because, when the brain is healing, it's been dealing with, artificially having to make dopamine, because it's the substances that we take increase the levels of dopamine that we are producing artificially. And when you take that substance away, it stops making dopamine, because it's used to relying on the artificial urge to do so. So at first you're going to feel like way down here in detox. And then it's like, oh crap, we don't have that anymore. So we're going to make more. And that's why we feel good. That spikes up and gets real high, and we feel fantastic for, right around 30 days. But then it's like, oh, now I'm making too much. So it will go down. And as you're going to have that fluctuation, as the brain is learning how much dopamine is appropriate to make, okay? You didn't know you were getting a science lesson, baby. Eventually that will level out to homeostasis, where it's making the appropriate amount and you are functioning within that appropriate amount instead of having the ups and downs and the highs and lows, okay? That takes time. Your brain needs time to heal. Typically speaking, neuropathways that are new, you can't rebuild the old ones. Once the old ones are destroyed through chemicals, they're gone. But you can rebuild new ones. That takes about 14 months. I don't know exactly how long it takes for the brain to come to homeostasis. I would say probably about the same amount of time. And in my experience, as I was navigating through my early recovery, I will say that it probably was, I felt more even at 6 months. And because I was comparing it to early recovery, and then like a year later, it was even better. And then 18 months later, it was even better. And hopefully you're not dealing with PAWS, but if you are, it is totally normal. PAWS, PAWS, is post-acute withdrawal syndrome, and it can make you scatterbrained and foggy and forgetful and just cognitively not all there. That usually does go away unless you have done irreversible damage. And those are very rare cases, luckily. Usually people kill themselves off before they've caused that much damage to their brain. However, I have known a few people who have loved ones who have permanent wet brain, which is basically your brain is fried from alcohol, and they have to live in an assisted living. So yes, that can happen to us. And I pray for those people, and I hope that their suffering ends, and that they are able to live a life of peace. Because it is not something I would wish upon my worst enemy. It's very, very gnarly to watch from the outside. All right, Spirit, what can we do just for today that, I'm seeing this one, that will help push us to the next step on our recovery journey along our spiritual path? And it said, yes, take these two. All right. Okay. And it looks like I have got 2 messages here. All right. First and foremost, we've got the Ace of Pentacles. This is your opportunity to, 9 of Pentacles, really indulge in being your authentic self. We have overindulged and hurt other people. Right now, you've got to focus on your own recovery. Put the cups up is what I'm hearing. Put the cups up. Don't be in your cups. Just look at all of the damage from your past. Put it up, neat and organized through that 4th and 5th step, and you'll be sitting happy. Is kind of the vibe I'm getting from that card. So there you go. And I am launching into my 4th step. And actually, a lot of people really worry about, oh my God, that's going to be so hard. And, the first time it's tedious, and you have a lot of feelings that come up that aren't pleasant, but you have to walk through them. But the amount of freedom that you get on the other side, once you've done your 4th step and your 5th step, is insane. So I actually gratefully go into it, now. I do it once a year. Okay. And it's worth it every time because I'm able to just shed off those layers, identify my patterns, and make the changes that I need to make to be a better person and to live a happier life. Okay. Next, we've got Judgment, followed by 7 of Cups, I've got the Page of Cups, but it did come in the reverse, and I'm being told I need to take it in the reverse. And then we've got the Eight of Swords. It came out into the reverse. Okay. So one of the things that you may you're going to have a period of time where you're going to see things very, very clearly. Remember, I said that there was a secret or a truth that is going to be clarified. It may be about something you've done. It may be about a relationship. It may be about a career path. I do not know. This is a collective reading, and I've got a lot of people who watch these. However, once that judgment is made and you're seeing everything clearly and you are coming into your own, you're going to have some choices to make. And one of those choices is going to, like those choices, for them to come in, you're going to have to let go of overthinking. You're going to have to let go of the mental prison you've trapped yourself in. And it looks, because we've got the Page of Cups in reverse, it's that you've been giving your cup to people. Like symbolically, the cup is your heart or your emotions, love. You've been giving, like offering your cup to people who will take it and drink from it and then throw the cup at you and say, fill it up yourself. And you have been really wrapped up in your head about those people and those relationships. Clarity will come and you will see that those people did not deserve that second chance. And there is nothing immoral about that. A lot of people say, oh, you got to turn the other cheek. And you can forgive someone and never talk to them again because your sanity requires you to walk away. All right. If they do not bring peace, if all they bring is confusion, it's time to walk away and not stay wrapped up into it, because that's one of the things. It's like, some people are so good at confusing people that even though you block them, even though you've walked away, mentally, you're still there. You're still arguing with them. You're still thinking over scenarios about how you could have done things better or about the resentments that you have with them. That means you're still kind of in that relationship with them, even though they're physically gone. That's how good they are at gaslighting. And so just make sure that you are understanding that aspect of it and turn your focus onto yourself. Try not to think about that person. That creates a lack mentality, and it actually blocks these opportunities that are just waiting there for you from coming in. So try and give yourself grace. You can't help what's happened. Okay. And you can't help how you maybe were raised to be in environments like that. And that's what you knew how to operate in. Right now, we're learning a new way of life. Okay. And that new way of life is going to demand that you stop these behaviors. Stay single. I'm hearing if you're in early recovery, at least the first year of dramatic drug use or alcohol use, because this time is a sacred time between you and the divine. You are learning how to not only understand yourself, but understand a power greater than yourself. And you'll never be done doing that, but giving yourself that first year to develop a relationship with a higher power is really key and will set you up for success. That foundation will be set and you will be able to, move forward with confidence. Because if I'm honest with you, we get cocky, but we are not confident people when we're in active use. We are probably some of the most scared, insecure people you'll ever meet. And we're running around trying to control everything based on that insecurity and based on that lack of confidence. Having confidence means that you have so much faith that life is going to go right so long as you do the next right thing and you are aligned with your spiritual path, that no matter what life throws at you, it will not throw you off balance. But again, time takes time. You have to walk through it. You have to do the work. Okay? All right. that's all I've got for you. If you want a personal reading, you can email Trinity at esoteriallc.com. I will be hosting the retreat at the beginning of June, and I will put the link in the comments. I'm also going to be hosting a conscious contact class to teach people how to get into conscious contact with their higher power. This is not a mediumship course. I will be hosting a mediumship course separately, but that is a different level of sublimination, for lack of a better term. We're going all the way to the top, and we're going direct to God right now, because when we're mediums, like I am, if you start taking all of the advice willy-nilly from dead people, it's just like taking advice from every Joe Schmo at those meetings. Not everybody has your best intentions at heart, okay? So not a mediumship class yet, but this is conscious contact, and I recommend that anyone in recovery come and attend. It will be free, but I will be accepting donations so that I can keep putting this good work out there, okay? I appreciate any likes, subscribes, comments, because it does help me with my channel and my algorithm, and I am delighted to be able to be of service in this way. It brings me so much joy and energy and fulfillment. So, and I would do it without all of those things, but I do greatly appreciate anybody who does, because that helps me get to more people and help them. All right. If this is where I leave you and no one has told you today, know that I love you. Happy Beltane and take care.